Hello guys, it's Mr. A again, and it's a geography lesson on South America. So let's have a look at what we're going to be doing today. Well, South America, the one thing that sticks out in everybody's mind is the rainforest. It covers a large area of the continent, and so we're going to find a little bit more about the different layers that make up the rainforest first of all. Now, first of all, what I wanted to do is to show you a little video clip, only 5 minutes long, of some of the features of a rainforest canopy and its layers, and the type of animals that live there and the different types of plants. So let's have a look.
Trekking through the Amazon rainforest is something that's high up on many travellers' to-do lists. But this is not the only tropical rainforest with natural beauty to behold. South America, Africa and India also have an abundance of wildlife and wonder. But what is it that makes this biome home to so many species of plants and wildlife? Tropical rainforests form a broad, discontinuous belt around the world, centred at the equator and extending from the Tropic of Cancer in the north to the Tropic of Capricorn in the south. The climate in this biome is humid and there's no winter or summer. Instead, it's hot and wet all year, providing the perfect climate for plants to flourish. Much like deciduous forests, tropical rainforests are made up of a number of layers. The ground layer is very dark and due to the heat is very steamy, with only 2% of light penetrating through. It has a lot of dead and quickly decaying plant matter, such as leaves that rot away. The rapid decomposition releases nutrients that are quickly absorbed by the plants and trees, leaving the soils relatively infertile. The shrub layer is between 0 and 10 meters. It's made up of smaller plants including orchids. It grows thickly near openings in the forests, rivers and small clearings. Depending on the particular forest, you can find alligators, jaguars, snakes and insects such as ants and tarantulas living here. The under canopy tends to be between 10 and 20 meters. It's made up of young trees that are growing quickly as they compete to reach the sunlight. In the South American rainforest, you'll find insects, sloths and howler monkeys here. Coming next is the main canopy at 20 to 30 meters. It's home to birds and acts a bit like an umbrella, shading the layers below the trees. These are tall and straight with few branches. These creepers, which look like the type Tarzan would swing from, are called lianas. They are rooted to the ground and have leaves and flowers up in the canopy. These plants are called epiphytes. They grow on the trunk and branches of the trees and survive by obtaining their nutrients direct from the air or the rainwater. At around 30 to 40 meters, the emergent layer is made up of 1 or 2 of the tallest trees in the rainforest. Down near the ground, they have wide buttress roots, providing a stable support for the trees. This canopy layer and the emergent trees are humming with birds, insects and butterflies. Trees and wildlife have learned to flourish in this environment, making the rainforest biome the most biodiverse in the world. The teak tree has a long, straight trunk that allows water to run down it quickly to the floor. They can grow as wide as 1.5 meters across and as tall as 30 to 40 meters. The branches spread out horizontally so the leaves capture as much light as possible. It's a deciduous tree, shedding its leaves if there's a dry season, so protecting itself from the lack of water. The wide buttress roots make a triangular base that provides support for the tree during times of high wind, preventing it from toppling over. The rainforest is home to some weird and wonderful animals, from pythons in Africa and Asia to the Indian elephant. When they are fully grown, the Indian elephant does not have any predators other than man. They travel in herds, so if they are attacked, they can group their young together to protect them. The trunk helps them when they are searching for food, and can help them to reach high branches or even when they are searching for food on the ground. They eat bark which they strip from trees using their tusks. They're also used to bore down into the ground when searching for water. Their ears help to keep them cool in the tropical heat. When they flap their ears, they can lose up to 5 degrees Celsius as heat is released from capillaries that run close to the surface. Some tribes still inhabit tropical rainforests across the world. The people living here hunt for food and have learned to survive living among the plants and animals. Humans use resources from tropical rainforests such as rubber, bamboo, and wood. We also take foods such as cocoa beans, coffee beans, and nuts. Deforestation is taking place in an unsustainable way. If this continues, it could have a huge impact on the whole planet. As you can see, the hot and wet conditions mean that lots of plants and wildlife flourish, and many have adapted to survive in this tropical biome.
In this picture, there are words that you will have heard from the video clip, such as the forest floor, the understory, the canopy, and the emergent layer. And they're all the different sections that make up the rainforest. Okay, and you can see from the video clips how dense, that means how thick, the vegetation, the flora, the fauna, that means the plants and the trees that make up the rainforest. And all the time the plants are struggling to grow upwards to try and get the most of the daylight. And as such, some of the trees are really, really tall, anything up to 50 metres. That's the same as 12 double-decker buses on top of each other, or 20, well, nearly 26 Mr. Allports on top of each other. Right, that'd be one big headache. But that gives you some idea of how tall the trees are. Right, so the first thing I want you guys to do today is to grab yourself a sheet of paper and your pencil out of your work packs, and I would like you to have a go at drawing a rainforest so that we can clearly see the different layers. So I want you to label it as well, just like in this diagram. Feel free to copy exactly what's on the diagram that I've got on the screen here. But can you see at the side, I've put the lines for you to label the different parts of the diagram. Now, if you need to, just go back a slide in the video and you'll see all the correct names for the different layers of the canopy. But please remember, use a ruler to draw straight lines. Okay, so pause the video now. Doesn't matter if you're not the world's greatest artist, just give it a go for me, okay? Because if you've labelled the different parts of the canopy clearly, it should all be clear. All right, so pause the video now and have a go. Okay, let's have a look at some of the types of creatures that live in the emergent layer of the rainforest. That's the layer that's right at the very top, where those trees are reaching out for the sunlight. So we've got the harpy eagle, the macaw, lovebirds. Okay, so you can see from this that they're all birds that are living that high up. I suppose they need the space to fly between the trees. But the one I want to look at here now is the harpy eagle. It's one of the largest in the world, standing over a metre tall. So that's up to Mr. A's waist. Its wingspan can be over 2 metres wide. So if you think of Mr. A putting his arms right out, okay, that's from the tip of one hand to the tip of the other. That's a big bird. Its talons, so its claws, can be the same size as a grizzly bear's. They feed on animals that live in the trees, such as sloth, monkeys, possums, as well as a variety of reptiles and other birds. The harpy eagles are excellent flyers and strike their prey after rapid pursuit through the forest canopy. Harpy eagles build extremely large nests of sticks and branches in the tallest or emergent trees. female harpy eagles lay between 1 and 2 eggs every 2 to 3 years. And what I've done here is I've put a picture in of a harpy eagle next to a man so that you can see the size difference. Okay, so when its wings are right out, right, that's as tall as a fully grown man. Pretty impressive, I think you'll agree. Now, I mentioned the harpy eagle lives in the emergent layer of the canopy, the rainforest. This is right at the top of the forest. Emergent trees stick out above the rest. They tower above the canopy layer, reaching heights of 60 to 70 metres. So if you think, I told you earlier, the average is about 50 metres, these ones are even taller. But they're so tall, and sticking up means they're all exposed to the wind, the rain and the sunlight in a way that none of the rest of the jungle is. It can be very windy up here, and emergent trees often spend part of the year with no leaves on. So can you see the greenery is a lot thicker below those trees? These ones, the word I would use is sparse, that means less. Okay. However, they do not all do this at the same time, like many of our trees do in the winter. All right. But you can see how the harpy eagle would have plenty of room to perch on those branches and swoop down on its prey in the canopy. Now, the tallest trees of the emergence tower as much as 50 metres above the forest floor, with trunks that measure up to 5 metres around, so I would not be able to wrap my arms around those trees. Most of these trees are broad-leaved, hardwood evergreens. That means they keep their leaves most of the year. Sunlight is plentiful up here. Animals found: eagles, monkeys, bats and butterflies. Okay, things that can try and stay out the way of prey. Now what I'd like you guys to do is have a go at this little close procedure. So we've learned a little bit about the emergent layer. So I've given you a word bank with words and phrases that might fit into the gaps in this paragraph. All right, so what you need to do is you need to have a read through the paragraph with the missing words, and then I want you to write the paragraph again, putting the missing words in so that the paragraph makes sense. All right, now when you finish writing, make sure you go back and read it again to make sure that it makes sense. Okay, make sure that all your punctuation is in, because we have a habit of forgetting that. So I want you to pause the video now and have a go at that for me. Okay, let's see how you did. So the emergent layer is at the top of the rainforest. You would see mostly birds in this layer. This is because it's very far from the ground. You would often find a lot of sunlight here because there are no trees to block it. Okay, hopefully you did okay on that and you read your paragraph afterwards to make sure everything made sense. Good, let's move on. As we come down through the layers of the rainforest, after the emergent layer we come to the canopy. Now this is where creatures like the sloth and the toucan and the woolly monkey live, where the branches and the leaves are a little bit more dense. Okay, they feel a little bit safer in the canopy because there's more around them. But I'm going to pick up on the black howler monkey. Now they can grow 60 centimeters tall with a 70 centimeters tail, so their tail is actually longer than their body, and they can weigh up to 7 kilos. So if you imagine a bag of sugar, 7 of those. And the monkeys live in troops of 4 to 8 members. Baboons defend their territory from other troops through the use of their voices, and the howler is one of the loudest animal sounds in the tropical forest of Belize. Howler monkeys are vegetarians and they feed on flowers, fruits and leaves. And there we go, there's a picture of them all howling together there. Looks like 3 year 6 by the looks of it. And just to show you how much they look like year 6 kids and sound like them, on the next slide I've got a video clip that sounds like some of you lot having a sing song. rainforest lives in this layer. It's the thick layer of trees that form a roof over the rest of the forest, hence the name canopy. The canopy is like a leaky roof. Most of the rainfall and sunlight is trapped by this layer, meaning the plants in the next two layers experience a much cooler, drier, more protected climate. The canopy is always green and leafy. It's about 25 to 45 meters high and 66 to 7 meters thick. Now, scientists are still finding out about life in the canopy layer, as many of the animals never come down to the forest floor. They spend their whole life living in the trees. Scientists have now set up big walkways and pulley systems so they can stay up there and research what life at that height is really like. This is the primary layer of the forest and forms a roof over the other remaining layers. Most canopy trees have smooth oval leaves that come to a point. It's a maze of leaves and branches. Many animals live in this area since food is abundant. That means abundant means lots of. So those animals include snakes, toucans and tree frogs. Right then, just as we did for the emergent layer, I want you to do this close procedure for the canopy. So read through again and look at the words and phrases that I've put in the word bank at the bottom in blue. And then I want you to try and fit the words or phrases into the missing gaps so that when you rewrite the paragraph, the sentences and the paragraph as a whole makes sense. Okay, pause the video now, have a go, and we'll have a look at the answers in a minute. Okay, let's see how you did on this one. The canopy has the fullest layer of trees in the rainforest. The leaves here are always green and leafy. It stops a lot of sunlight from reaching the bottom. There are a lot of food here because it is safest here. Okay, hopefully you got that right. In the next part of the rainforest canopy, we find creatures such as the jaguar, the golden tree boa snake, and the greater bulldog bat. So let's just have a closer look at one of these creatures. Let's have a look at the jaguar. They're the largest of South America's big cats and the third largest cats in the world. They're actually, from the tip of its tail to the tip of its nose, 2.4 meters long. And at one time, jaguars ran all the way to the US-Mexico border, but jaguars are now only occasionally sighted in Texas and Arizona. Most jaguars are found in the Amazon River basin. The name jaguar comes from the Native American word Jaguar, which means he who kills with one leap. Their fur is usually tan or orange with black spots, called rosettes, because they're shaped like roses. Jaguars live alone and mark their territory with their waist or by clawing trees. Jaguars are mammals. They're carnivorous and eat a diet rich in meat and fish. As I say, we're moving on to the next part of the canopy now, and this is called the understory. Okay, so this is the underneath, not quite at the bottom, but under that middle layer that's very thick, and it consists of smaller trees and bushes, and is much darker, hotter, and more humid. It holds all the heat of the rainforest and all the dampness. This is where the jaguar, king of the jungle, spends most of his time resting in the branches of trees. There's a huge variety of species at this layer, but many also come from the forest floor to rest in the safety of the trees and the bushes. Very little sunshine reaches this area, so the plants have to grow larger leaves to reach the sunlight. The plants in this area seldom grow to 12 feet. Now 12 feet is about 7.5 meters. So if you think, oh, I don't know, 4 times taller than Mr. A. Many animals live here, including jaguars, red-eyed tree frogs, and also leopards. There's a large concentration of insects here. So now we've got our close procedure for the understory part of the rainforest. So what I want you to do, again, as we've done in the past couple, to pause the video, use the word bank that I've given you, and see which words fit in and make sense in this paragraph. So pause the video and write this down for me, please. Okay, answer time again. How did you do? Let's have a look. So the understory is close to the bottom of the rainforest. Some animals that live there are nocturnal. The weather is very hot and humid. Animals from the forest floor come here to rest during the day. Okay, all should be fine with that one, hopefully. If you did okay, well done. Okay, let's look at these fine specimens of animals. They're all very, very different, quite strange to look at them, some of them. These guys, they live in the next part of the rainforest that we're going to look at. Can you guess from looking at them whereabouts they live in relationship to the other animals that we've looked at so far? Let's have a look at the Hercules beetle on the end there. Now I'll put that picture in so that you can just see the size of the beetle compared to a human's hand. Now, the Hercules beetle is the largest beetle in the world. It can grow up to 20 centimetres in length. Males are smooth and shiny green in colour with large black spots. They have big sword-shaped horns that can be 10 centimetres long. That's half their body. The horns are curved so much that they can meet each other like pincers. The female Hercules beetles don't have horns. They have beaded wing cases covered in a thick layer of reddish hair. Okay guys, from looking at those creatures, did you guess which part of the rainforest we'll be looking at next? That's right, we're onto the forest floor now, where only 2% of the light that hits the canopy ever reaches the forest floor, making this the darkest, most humid, sticky part of the forest. The ground's covered in rotting leaves, roots, twigs and branches, perfect for insects, snakes and anteaters. When one of the canopy trees crashes down, it totally transforms that area of the forest floor. The sunlight that gets through causes a growth spurt of saplings, those are baby trees, and other plants. And then fungi grows easily in this dark, dank area because it feeds on the rotting leaves. As I've said, it's very dark down here and almost no plants grow in this area as a result. Since hardly any sun reaches the forest floor, things begin to decay quickly. A leaf that might take, say, 1 year to decompose in a regular climate will disappear in just 6 weeks. As I said, this is where the giant anteaters live in this layer, because if you think about all the insects and the ants that collect all these dead leaves, right, perfect for them. And there's a picture of what the forest floor looks like. I had to pick that one because it was a bit lighter. Usually it's a lot darker than that. Okay, then on to our final close procedure about the forest floor. So you know the score, usual thing, get yourself a piece of paper, or it might be that you've got enough room on the one you've been working on. You're going to use the words from the word bank at the bottom to complete the paragraph. Pause the video now, kids. Okay, it says how did you do? So that must mean it's answer time, and we should have the forest floor. Forest floor is the bottom layer of the rainforest. It is where a lot of insects such as beetles live. Not much light goes there because the trees block the sun. Alright, so hopefully your paragraph makes sense with those words that you've used and you've remembered all of your punctuation. Okay, now we've been all the way through the different layers of the rainforest canopy. Well done, Year 6. Hopefully you've learnt a little bit more about the rainforest in this lesson. I know I've learned something about the creatures that live in the different layers of the rainforest. Hopefully we'll be learning more next lesson. See you soon.